Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for appearing with us today, Madam Secretary. Welcome back. About 8 years ago, several secretaries ago, Secretary Jewell signed an agreement to remove the 4 hydroelectric dams along the Klamath River. And now we're seeing, with the partial work of that being done, devastation to that river that you, well, I won't say can't imagine, because we could imagine that. We knew there was untold amounts of silt that had gathered behind those dams over the years. Now they've been unleashed upon the whole river system, all the way out to the mouth into the Pacific Ocean. And so I mentioned this to you when we saw each other. Have you had a chance to take a look at any of the video or photographs of that devastation, what it meant to the wildlife and water quality, et cetera, along there?
I'm sorry, Congressman, I didn't hear the exact question.
Have you had a chance to take a look at any of the photographs or videos or what have you of the devastation by the unleashing of that material into the river system all the way out to the mouth of the ocean?
I have not seen photographs, but if you...
Seen what, sorry?
I have not seen any photographs, no. But I'd be happy to look at photographs.
You really should, and if you had a chance to visit in person, because what we're talking about when ostensibly this is about salmon and the life cycle of the salmon involved is 3 years, and there's people from the department and other entities claiming it'll be a 10 to 12 year project for the silt to actually disappear. At the same time, while they have equipment scooping silt out from the lake bottom and dumping it in the river. Now, if you were a miner, if you were anybody else, that would be probably life in prison for what they're doing there, yet somehow that is deemed to be okay. So what we're looking at is the dam removal project so far is a disaster. And at the same time, we hear a lot of talk about climate change and the type of replacing our vehicles, replacing the power generation with CO2 free, right? I'm sure the department has a lot of goals on CO2, right? I mean, in general, right? Carbon dioxide, goals on reducing it? Just from the hip, ma'am. I mean, we don't have to.
Sorry.
Anyway, I'll keep moving on. Everybody has goals in the California government, the U.S. government on climate change and reducing all that. So at the same time we're talking about this, we are getting rid of the source of CO2-free electricity in dams and then dewatering other dams and making it where they're ineffective at running water through their hydro plants. We've barely kept alive the Diablo Canyon power plant in Central California. At the same time, we're talking about mining and the inability to extract the metals that are needed for producing the electrified vehicles and electrified everything else. So we're going in the opposite direction of both things to meet the goals that the administration and California government seems to be placing upon people to their detriment economically, jobs, et cetera. So at what point, what do you say to the public with goals like this that are wrecking the river and making it much more expensive? And let me zero in on this part. The Klamath Lake is at 90.6% capacity as of yesterday, as the lakes around California are filling up. Shasta, Oroville, Folsom's on its way up. New Malone is as high as it's been in quite a while. Yet we're seeing 40% allocation to some of the San Joaquin Valley districts. So how does your department explain that in context with people seeing skyrocketing food prices, and then we talked about hydroelectric and electricity prices? What am I supposed to say to them about the direction that this administration and your department is going?
Congressman, thank you for the question. And I know you and I have had conversations about this, and you've also essentially had an open door to the Bureau of Reclamation staff.
Thank you. Yep.
I know they're also going to be here later in the month. So I want to tell you that, yes, we understand that there was record moisture in some parts of the West. However, it's my understanding that the drought persists, and so they are working to be even careful with the water that we have so that people will have it into the future.
But there's not a drought. 2 years in a row, almost record snowpack. The lakes are essentially full if they're allowed to be topped off. all except for the San Luis Reservoir, which is about 25% down. So the farmers in Klamath are still, with a nearly full lake, are going to still be at maybe 2/3 of their allocation, as well as the 40%ers down south in San Joaquin. So with all that, with all this, how do you explain it to the farmers? And then let me come back to the CO2 one more time. Again, you got CO2, climate goals. What percent of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide?
I understand that you will tell me how much it.
No, I'd like to hear it from you. I'd like to hear it from you.
The gentleman's time has expired. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Oregon, Ms. Foyle.
0.04%.
We've heard that before.
Once or twice. Thank you very much.
The chair recognizes the gentlelady